All right, guys. So on this edition of Cuckoo for Cocoa Puff World, we have to go back out to the left coast once again, Oregon, more specifically, Portland, really, because it seems like the politics of Portland kind of runs that state, as the state legislator is moving to quote unquote decriminalize homelessness, right? And basically, what they're doing with this new legislation, House Bill 3501, is that they are allowing homeless individuals to be able to have a privacy interest and a reasonable expectation of privacy in any property belonging to that person, regardless of whether or not the property is in a public space. Basically meaning that it is going to give individuals, homeless individuals, the right to camp out in public, okay, in public spaces as if it's their private property. And apparently, a homeless person can sue individuals for up to $1,000 if you tell that homeless person to relocate off of public property. Like, for example, if a homeless person camps out in front of your business, right, and you tell them to move because basically you're keeping customers from coming into the store or from patronizing your business, basically you can be fined, okay? And I want to go ahead and play a news clip so that you guys get a better understanding of what's going on and some reactions to this new legislation. Take a look.
Advocates for the homeless community in Oregon are divided on how to handle the challenge of public camping. Now, state lawmakers are considering the Right to Rest Act, which would make camping easier. Good evening, and thank you for joining us for K2 News at 5. I'm Barry Mangold. Let's get straight to K2's Megan Allison, who joins us live now at Laurelhurst Park in southeast Portland. Megan, what would change if this bill passes?
Well, Barry, House Bill 3501 would decriminalize camping in public places. This follows debates in regions across the state, including here in Portland. We've watched several sweeps at this park, and you can see work is now underway to change the landscape here to prevent camping moving forward. Some homeless advocates tell us they understand the argument of solidifying rights for those living on the streets.
Most of the advocate community in the state really want to establish a constitutional right to exist. And I am very sympathetic with that position, because I don't believe that when people lose their housing that they lose their legal and constitutional rights.
The executive director for the Mid-Willamette Valley Community Action Agency tells us there are already protections in place. In September, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals prohibited laws outlawing things like tents that protect people from the weather. State law from the 2021 session requires posting an intent to trespass notice before a sweep, as well as a requirement for local governments to help store property.
I do think we've sort of reached a kind of happy medium in the state. I know that it doesn't go far enough for some advocates who really want to establish a constitutional right to be left alone. But we have made some progress.
One board member of the Mid-Willamette Valley Homeless Alliance says public camping has been a big concern in the Salem area over the last few years.
We all know what happened when we were not able to access people camping in the ODOT rights-of-way, and we ended up with people who were dead. So that's the most extreme, and unfortunately, it's not rare enough.
Now, Kathy Clark says the focus should be directing those in need towards resources.
What we've already done is worked with people who are trying to camp and set up spaces in uninhabitable areas to get to appropriate and safe places. Both advocates also voiced safety concerns for those camping and the public. I'll show you why they're sharing caution in the wake of this bill coming up tonight at 6. We're live in Southeast Portland. Megan Allison, K2 News.
All right, Megan, thank you.
Yeah, so as you can imagine, right, with an insane bill like this being proposed, there are people in Oregon who are pissed about this, even advocates for the homeless, you know, people that are actually on the ground doing the work, trying to help homeless people not be homeless. Yeah, they're saying that these progressive policies and proposals are ass backwards in regards to actually trying to fix the problem. Take a look.
Kevin Dahlgren is an Oregon-based homeless advocate. Kevin, I know you have a heart for the homeless. You want to do right by them. Does a bill like this do that?
No, this is madness. Explain to me how this serves any meaningful purpose to end this humanitarian crisis. This is backwards thinking. This is the kind of thinking that got us into this mess in the first place. So no, I am not okay with this.
So what is the thinking? Enable the ease of homelessness as much as possible, or drug use so that it's a comfortable living?
You know, that's a piece of it. I mean, look, Oregon has already decriminalized drugs. That's not really worked out well for us. Now we're decriminalizing homelessness. For one thing, it's going to open the floodgates. People come to these, more progressive type cities anyway because of these progressive policies. We do this, the Portland homeless population is going to explode. And that is not okay.
So what should happen instead? As a homeless advocate who says there's a real problem here, left-wing policies have incentivized it, the progressives have made it easy, what should be done instead?
Well, it starts with the outreach. It starts with the approach. Outreach is virtually non-existent. The outreach serves two purposes. It builds trust, but also deters negative behavior. If you saw established teams out there every day, every encampment, engaging with them and building that trust and bringing back hope, they're going to come around and accept the services you are offering. What we do is we simply leave them alone out there, and it's become this almost post-apocalyptic feeling.
But now you can't even leave them alone. So the idea is the private citizens who are simply saying, get off my lawn, or how about away from my kid's school, or get out of my... Now you're the one that would pay a fine? Now it's me?
Yeah, exactly. And what that bill specifically says is if they feel harassed. Well, that's very subjective. So, for example, what if a homeless person is blocking your storefront with your ability to serve your customers, and you ask them to leave politely? If they feel harassed, do they get to sue you, right? Where are the rules in this society? The understanding that there's a right and wrong way of doing things. So that is not okay. Harass, anybody can say they're harassed. But I certainly wouldn't want a homeless person blocking my ability to leave my front door or to open my business, or be honestly camping under the slide if I've taken my kid to the park.
Yeah, so not only is the Oregon legislator basically proposing a bill to essentially make it so homeless people can essentially live on public property, they're also trying to give them $1,000 a month as well too, just for being homeless. Take a look.
Homeless people and those who qualify be given $1,000 a month for 2 years. Now, that is something Oregon lawmakers are discussing with the new proposed bill. It's all very early in the process, and KEZI 9 News reporter Grace Smith spoke with some homeless people living on the streets of Eugene to get their take.
It depends on what people use it with.
Senate Bill 603.
It would help me very much in all sorts of little things.
If passed, for 2 years, monthly payments of $1,000 would go out to people living on the streets without housing assistance, people at risk of becoming homeless, people who make less than 60% of area median income, or people who spend more than half their monthly household income on rent.
Just get me by to be able to get my phone operational, get basic stuff.
David Marr lives on the streets of Eugene.
Be able to get through and back and forth, be able to take care of the business I need to take care of.
And while he says the money would help him get back on his feet, it's others on the street he's worried about.
Giving $1,000, it better be under control of some, because most of it, by most people in the streets, 75 to 80% is just going to be used for drugs by the people that get it, either for fentanyl or mostly methamphetamine.
Under the proposal, the monthly payments would have to be used for things like rent, food, childcare, emergency expenses, or, quote, other goods or services of the participants' choosing.
The whole basis is a pretty good idea because it's helpful for people that have nothing. But the majority of the people that have nothing are going to use it for full negative things of their own addiction.
An initial public hearing in committee was held to talk about the bill, but it would still need to be passed by both chambers in the Oregon legislature and signed off by Governor Kotek in order for it to become a law. And if passed, it would go into effect January 1st, 2024.
I would use it to get a place, probably a vehicle.
Chris Holland has been living on the streets of Eugene on and off for about 10 years now and says this money would be life-changing.
I would start doing things like Grubhub or anything like that. I could do DoorDash. I could buy a cheap van to live in, put all my stuff in.
But he's also worried about what some might do with the money.
A lot of people, my friends, have been dying and stuff of bad drugs. So I think there needs to be a check system. Like if you're going to give it to like people who are addicts, maybe offer them a program to get into at the same time.
The bill would establish a People's Housing Assistance Fund demonstration program that would be administered by the Oregon's Department of Human Services, and how the money would be distributed and tracked, among other details, are still being worked out. Reporting in Eugene, Grace Smith, KEZI 9 News.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that. Listen, I don't have a problem with helping out the homeless, right, and trying to help them better their lives, but you can't do that by essentially giving them special rights and privileges that other people don't have. Like, for example, giving them free money, okay, not telling them to get a job, right, not focusing on them getting a job and working and actually contributing to society. You're also, thinking about passing laws that essentially make it so homeless people are allowed to live on public property, as if that's not going to have extremely negative consequences, especially considering how open drug use is basically fine now, right? I mean, they've decriminalized drug use. So you got homeless people doing drugs on the street. They're allowed to live wherever, okay? And if you tell them to leave because, I don't know, they're blocking your business, okay? They're stopping people from being able to come and patronize your business. Or, for example, again, they're openly doing drugs in a park. You're trying to take your kid to a park, right, to just run around and play. You can't tell them to leave. You can't say anything to them, or they can sue you for $1,000. While on top of that, your taxpayer money is going towards giving them $1,000 a month to not work. Absolutely amazing stuff, man. Again, you guys notice how in these progressive wonderlands, aka shitholes, all they care about are people that don't want to work. All they care about are people that don't want to contribute to the society, that are strung out on drugs, that simply, again, a lot of these people you really can't help, right? You really can't do much for a lot of these people, okay? I mean, let's keep it 100, right? Some people are homeless for a reason, right? They just don't got it. And I'm not saying you shouldn't help them. I'm not saying, to a certain extent they shouldn't be taken care of. But at some point, you cannot put the rest of society's safety in jeopardy, including children, okay, businesses, for people who don't want to work, who don't want to get jobs, who just want to sit around and get high all day. It's ridiculous. It really is. I mean, why pay property taxes? Okay, why do we have all these codes for housing and buildings, like, for example, sanitation codes, sewage codes, waste management, stuff like that? We have that stuff for a reason. There's a reason why we don't just let people set up houses anywhere, right? We have to have a system in place where we can keep things, clean and sanitary, the water, things like that. And that is why we have this stuff set up. But again, in Cuckoo for Cocoa Puff world, in progressive wonderland, people that don't want to work, people who contribute the less to society, including criminals, they're prioritized over everybody else, okay? And this is what you're voting for when you vote for progressive, guys. This is why I do these videos, because I want to show people this is what you're voting for. When you vote for a progressive, especially at the local and state level, this is what you're signing up for. You're signing up for your city, your state to turn into places like California and Oregon. That's what you're signing up for. And in all these places, these progressives are doing the same thing. They're taking care of people who don't want to work, who are negative contributors, right? They don't care about law-abiding citizens. They don't care about the middle class. They want to tax you more and let the criminals run free, right? And give criminals your money, okay? Let them live anywhere. Again, I'm just saying, I don't know how many of these videos I got to do. I mean, I'm going to keep doing them because, hey, at some point, people will see this stuff and be like, I can't accept this. We cannot accept this type of lunacy in this country, right? But, some people like it, right? Apparently, again, some of the progressives, the woke revolutionaries like this stuff. So who knows? They like living in shitholes. I'm just saying. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.